Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a foundation review. I actually was planning on doing this a couple days ago. I went to my Walmart to try to find this foundation and they had a few colors, but they didn't have their two lightest shades. So I bought what they had, swatched them on my arm when I got home, and I was like, nope, this is not gonna work. So I ordered them on flowerbeauty.com. I'm going to be reviewing the new Flower Beauty Pore Perfect Instant Blur Stick and Multitasking Foundation. I bought their two lightest shades. I'm thinking that their lightest shade is going to be the one that works for me. You guys know I've been so into Flower Beauty. I actually didn't plan on doubling up on a Flower Beauty video. It's just that these foundations came today, and so I'm filming them today. I paid for faster shipping, but it didn't really work out very well, so they came later than I planned, so sorry about the back-to-back Flower Beauty videos, but you know what? It's such a great brand. I'm really excited to try this foundation out. You guys know I've been loving their other Light Illusion foundation, and this seems to be completely different, so I'm super excited to see how it wears, how it performs on my skin, and how it compares to the Light Illusion foundation. I'm on their website right now, and I'm just gonna read to you guys a couple things so we can kind of get an idea of what to expect with this foundation. So it retails for $14. It features a blur stick on one end that instantly refines pore texture and mattifies in one single swipe. Okay, so it's gonna be more matte. The other end features a silky full coverage foundation stick, I love full coverage, which is formulated with treated pigments to conceal darkness and imperfections completely. A transformative full face solution for the most flawless face. It's supposed to be a weightless formula for a second skin feel, and it's supposed to be crease proof, which we will have to test, especially in my smile lines here. You guys know I usually crease there. So let's just get right into it. I'm reading the how-to right now. Apply the primer side on the cheeks, across forehead, down the nose, and over the chin. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Alabaster 05. Really quickly, here's the packaging. It's dual-ended like this. One side is that foundation they were talking about. The other side is the blurring stick, which looks like this. So let's start off with the blurring stick / primer. Okay, cheeks, okay. And I don't know if you massage it in with your fingers or what. Oh, down the nose. By the way, you guys, I have a clean face and I put moisturizer on. Today I used this Ultra Repair Cream from First Aid Beauty all over the skin. And usually when I use a stick foundation, I try to use something ultra hydrating underneath just because it helps the performance of a stick foundation, typically. I don't really know how this formula works in particular, but I really wanted to make sure that my skin wasn't dry because stick foundations on me cling to dry patches. So it's good to make sure that your skin is nice and exfoliated before. At least that's what I found with every stick foundation I've tried. Over the chin, they said, so we're adding that. It feels really, really nice and smooth. Oh, the second step was to blend with your finger or the Flower Beauty 3-in-1 sponge, which I have right here. So we'll pat that on top, but I actually feel like I liked blending it out with my finger. So now, sweep and blend the foundation side across the cheeks, forehead, chin, jawline, and nose. Buildable formula allows for extra coverage when needed. Okay, so I'm gonna be kind of cautious with how much I apply with this. I feel like I've made the mistake in the past with stick foundations to really accidentally get a little too heavy-handed with it. I think I get excited drawing stripes on my face, and then it's easy to kind of accidentally make it look like a cakey foundation just because you get really excited with drawing on foundation and then it ends up being a little bit too much. So I'm going to try to kind of go in layers and light layers to see how this all works. I am going to use the lightest shade, Alabaster 05, which is kind of weird. I'm never usually the lightest shade. I'm usually like the second or third in, but this definitely seems like it should work for me. I have the other one as backup just in case it's a little bit light. Okay, so I'm just going to apply some on the cheeks, chin. It said jawline, so there's that. Nose, okay, forehead. All right, so let's start with that much. I'm going to use the Flower Beauty sponge to blend out one side, and then we will maybe try a brush on the other side, just so we can kind of get an idea of coverage and how it blends with either. So definitely didn't give as much coverage as I thought with the sponge. Let's use a foundation brush on the other side. I usually use brushes with stick foundations. I just find that they blend out better and more coverage is left behind, and I think that's going to be the case with this as well. So I'm just blending that out. So the shade seems to be pretty good, but it definitely didn't provide as much coverage as I wanted it to, but I guess that's the point. Let's build it up like it said you can. I'm going to just keep using the brush because I do feel like I got more coverage on this side, even though I have more redness and blotchiness and blemishes on only one half of my face. I don't know why that happens to me. So let's just add another layer on top and see how this goes. And I'm adding a little more to this side of the face and the forehead just to kind of try to build it up to the coverage that that I normally look for. All right, so I've been kind of layering this and blending it out. And if I'm honest, I don't know how well it really builds up after those first 2 initial coats. You can still see blemishes through here, and since it's marketed as a full coverage foundation, I was kind of expecting a little bit more, if I'm honest. The more I built it up and the more I tried to blend it out, I tried it with both the brush and then the sponge again as I was building it up, and I felt like the more I tried to build it up, it kind of started to pick up in layers. So I feel like less is more with this product, and I'm thinking right now it's almost better to just try to do like a lighter layer all over the face and use concealer to spot conceal. That being said, it's kind of a misconception in my opinion to market this as a super full coverage foundation, because it's not nearly as full coverage as so many of my stick foundations. And again, it just kind of looked blotchy in areas and picked up in some areas, and especially over my blemishes, you can kind of see it's clinging to any dry patches, and that's kind of what I was afraid of. But we are going to continue. I'm going to just use some concealer to try to spot conceal, but you guys can see it's not super full coverage. It does have a skin-like finish though, which I do like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up my makeup. We'll be right back, and then we will do a wear test, and I'll kind of give you guys my opinion at the end. So I'll be right back. All right, so I just finished applying my makeup. I tried to use a bunch of like Flower Beauty products that I used in just my last tutorial. I felt like they didn't apply as well over this foundation as they did the Light Illusion foundation. I feel like everything kind of was a little more patchy. It skipped a little bit more. I set everything with the Flower Beauty Light Illusion powder, and I just feel like it looks so much better with the Light Illusion foundation. Looking up close, I feel like it's emphasized texture anywhere that I have it, and any dry patches, I really don't like how it looks over my blemishes here. The areas on my face where I don't have texture, like my forehead and some parts of my cheek, I actually don't mind how it looks, but if you have texture or blemishes at all, or any sort of dry patches, I feel like it will cling to it. That being said, this is not my final opinion. I am going to put it through a wear test so we can kind of see how this holds up. It definitely looks more natural than I thought. Like, it almost looks like I'm wearing like a CC cream or something. That's the amount of coverage that I feel like it gave me. I think it looks pretty, but right now it's definitely not one of my favorites that I've ever put on my skin. I feel like my skin actually might be a little bit too dry for this. Maybe this is something that would work better for oily skin. I don't really know. I set it with powder, but I did not use a setting spray. I just want to kind of see how it works on its own without the influence of a setting spray. So it's kind of actually late because I did receive this in the mail this afternoon. So it is 4:41 p.m. I'm going to try to wear this as long as possible, and maybe even do a little bit of a wear test tomorrow, depending on how this holds up and if I have a solid review today or not. I will see you guys in a little bit, and we'll do a check-in to see how well this held up and how well it wore. So I will see you in a little bit. All right, guys, I am back. It's pretty late. It is 11:42 p.m. Here's my hair. Honestly. Okay, here's the situation. This is one of the most interesting foundations I've ever tried, because when I first applied it, it looked super dry, and now I look so hydrated / oily in the T-zone. My nose did not really handle the foundation very well at all. This like started to look better throughout the day, but I didn't touch up at all, by the way. This is just how it's worn for several hours. I will say the coverage has stayed the same on the other areas besides my nose, but foundation always comes off my nose. So I didn't notice much shifting or anything like that. I just felt like the foundation kind of melted into the skin the longer that I wore it. I was dying to touch it up throughout the day, but I thought, you know what? No, I'm just going to leave it so that you guys can see exactly how it wore. I'm kind of confused about this foundation, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have a solid opinion on it quite yet. I think I'm going to film just a little bit tomorrow morning and kind of hopefully be able to develop a more solid opinion for you guys. I will say that I do not think it's a super full coverage foundation, but the longevity of it was really great. I didn't see any separation. It looks pretty much as intact as it did when I first applied it. The finish has completely changed on me, but I did apply a really hydrating moisturizer underneath before. I almost want to try it out with a primer tomorrow. I didn't really notice too much of a difference, honestly, with the pore blurring stick. I didn't really notice much with that today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it out tomorrow morning and then close out the video with my solid opinion on this, but I will see you all tomorrow for my final thoughts. All right, you guys, so I just finished applying my makeup. It is the following day, and I have to say that it applied so much better today. I actually used a face oil before I applied it, which is something that I use in my skincare sometimes. I didn't use it yesterday because I just wasn't sure how it would react with a stick foundation, but I used a face oil and I do feel like it helped really glide over my skin really nicely. I still stand by the coverage being more light to medium coverage. I don't feel like it's very full coverage. You can kind of build it up with a lot more. I mean, I tried to really cover things up this time and it still shows through some redness and some blemishes. So it's definitely more of a light to medium coverage. So I'm going to try to wear this foundation as long as possible today. It is 12:09 p.m. and I am going to upload this video today, so I will try to wear it for as long as I possibly can. I try to use a lot of the same products as yesterday so we can kind of see a comparison a little bit more accurately at the end of today. So I will see you guys in a little bit for a check-in and then I will have my final thoughts then. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, you guys, I am back. It is 6:43 p.m. I tried to wear this as long as possible. Like I told you guys, here is what the foundation looks like. I don't know why, but my nose does not like this foundation. I don't really like how it looks there. And I jotted down some of my final thoughts as I kind of went through the day and I looked at my foundation all day. It's kind of like a confusing foundation because yesterday it applied really dry at first and then by the end of the day it looked better and looked more hydrated. Today it applied so much better with a more oily base, but now it looks like more oily than it did yesterday, I feel like. So basically my final thoughts after 2 times of using this is it a bad foundation? No. Is it my favorite? No, not at all. I feel like there are much better foundations out there that work so much better for my skin. I just feel like this one is kind of unpredictable. It doesn't really last like I need it to, and it gets so oily on my nose, which I hate. I absolutely hate that, and it could be that it's kind of more of a mattifying foundation, and you guys know, like I've said before in some of my videos, sometimes when I use super mattifying products, it actually causes my skin to produce way more oil than I need it to. I felt like the Pore stick kind of really didn't do much for me where I have a lot of problem areas. I feel like my forehead looks pretty smooth. I kind of feel like that was a waste of space in this side. The foundation itself I feel like would work for somebody who wants a really light to medium coverage. Maybe this is something that would be good for on the go, and it could work for some of you. I just feel like it clung to my dry patches and then kind of got oily by the end of the day, and so I just feel like I can't really rely on it. And I also think that I'm kind of in the back of my head comparing it to a little bit the Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I'm not comparing them as like similar foundations. I'm not comparing it like that, but I was just kind of expecting to be floored and wowed like I was with this foundation, and I just wasn't. So it didn't really work for me. Let me know if it worked for you in the comments below and what skin type you have and how you use it, because if it works for you, maybe it will work for somebody else. It just did not work for me. If you're gonna buy a Flower Beauty foundation, buy this one. This is much more reliable for me. This is something that has worked over and over and over again, and it's become one of my favorites so quickly. So that is it, you guys. I hope you found this helpful. I am glad that I wore it for another day because I do feel like that helped me kind of get a better feel for what I think about this foundation. I hope you found this review helpful. Again, comment down below and let me know if you guys have tried this foundation, as well as any foundations that you want me to try out. I love doing foundation reviews. They're some of my favorite makeup products to try out. If you haven't subscribed yet, please join the family by hitting the subscribe button. And if you guys want to be a part of the notification family, just click on the little bell after you subscribe so you'll be notified every single time I post a video, and I post 3 times a week, so you don't want to miss out. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!